Hi, my name is Amanda Green. I'm 39 years old. My son was born April 29th, 2016 by C-section. I had a normal, healthy pregnancy. My son was delivered and he had some blood sugar and bilirubin levels that needed to be regulated before we could leave the hospital. So while they were taking care of my son, I noticed my next to last day in the hospital that I was getting a really bad headache that is not normal for me. I don't normally get headaches, especially not headaches that were this intense. I also noticed that whenever I would recline in my hospital bed or lie flat, I had trouble breathing and I could feel my heartbeat reverberating through my body, in my head, my chest. It was a weird sensation that I had not felt before. Final day in the hospital, the nurse came to take my vitals and my blood pressure was 140 over something. The only reason I knew what my blood pressure was is because I like to ask. They don't normally tell you. I've noticed that with my regular doctor and with the nurses in the hospital, you have to ask for the information. When they told me what it was, I let them know that was completely abnormal for me, that usually my blood pressure is 110 over 70, 120 over 80, and that something wasn't right. She said she'd make a note of it and let the doctor know, and that's all I heard about that. The hospital released my son and I, and we all went home for that first night. My husband worked overnight, so it was just me and my newborn son. I was feeding him every 2 to 3 hours because he was breastfeeding, and those were the instructions that I was given by the hospital. So I was keeping up on his feedings. I was exhausted. We were alone, and my headache came back. My breathing problems came back. The heartbeat issue came back, and I was alone. I was terrified. I didn't want to fall asleep even though I was exhausted because I was afraid I wouldn't wake back up. And something told me I could not wait. I needed to get to the ER. Thankfully, they readmitted me to the maternity ward since I was just there the day before. My headache was so bad, I was in tears. This is the worst pain I'd ever felt. And this is after having a C-section, after giving birth for the first time with back labor. They took my blood pressure and it was 180 over something, going up to 200 over something, I believe. I asked the nurse what it meant or what would have happened if I'd waited any longer, and she said it looked like I had post-preeclampsia, and that if I had waited much longer, my organs were on the verge of shutting down. So at this point, I was in tears. My husband was sitting beside me with our son, and I remember saying, please, please, if anything happens to me, no matter what, just please take care of him and give him a good life. I thought that I was going to die. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for letting me share my story. I've been hearing about this on NPR for ages regarding maternal mortality in Texas and everywhere else, and it's unacceptable that a country such as ours has such a high mortality rate for mothers. If I had not had my husband with me to take me back to the hospital, I probably would have just stayed home with my son to take care of him, and I probably would have died, and there would have been no one there with my son. I want women to hear these stories, and I want something to click in their heads if they go through the same situation so that they know this stuff can't be taken lightly. This is serious. This is our health. This can be life or death, and they need to make someone listen to them. So hopefully sharing what happened to me will prevent the same thing from happening to someone else, or at least save someone's life.